The Curse of Ravenswood Asylum, Chapter 1, The Inheritance. Dr. Eleanor Reed, a seasoned psychiatrist, receives an unexpected letter informing her that she has inherited a long-abandoned asylum on the outskirts of the Scottish Highlands, Ravenswood Asylum. Intrigued by the mysterious inheritance and hoping to uncover her family's hidden past, she decides to visit the asylum, despite warnings from the locals about the dark history of the place. Ravenswood, once a renowned institution, was closed down under grim circumstances. Patients and staff disappeared overnight, leaving only ghostly rumors and an empty, decaying building. Eleanor, driven by curiosity and her scientific mind, dismisses the superstitions and begins her exploration of the asylum. Chapter 2, Whispers in the Dark. The asylum is a sprawling, Gothic structure, surrounded by thick woods that seem to isolate it from the rest of the world. Inside, the building is a maze of endless corridors, with decaying rooms that once held tormented souls. As Eleanor explores deeper, she begins to hear faint whispers and shadows seem to move just out of sight. She discovers old patient files, detailing bizarre and horrifying treatments, as well as a secret ward where the most dangerous and disturbed patients were kept. The more she uncovers, the more the asylum's dark influence begins to affect her. She experiences vivid hallucinations, seeing the patients as they were, suffering and tortured by inhumane experiments. Chapter 3, The Entity. Eleanor's search leads her to the heart of the asylum, a hidden underground chamber where she finds records of a forbidden ritual. The doctors of Ravenswood had attempted to cure insanity by summoning an ancient entity, believed to have the power to manipulate minds. The ritual had gone horribly wrong, trapping the entity in the asylum, feeding on the madness of the patients. As Eleanor reads through the records, she realizes that the entity has been waiting for a Reed to return and finish what was started. The entity begins to prey on her mind, blurring the line between reality and illusion, driving her to the brink of madness. She must find a way to banish the entity before it consumes her entirely, or risk becoming just another lost soul in Ravenswood Asylum. Chapter 4, The Final Confrontation. With her mind unraveling, Eleanor discovers the final part of the ritual hidden in a diary belonging to her great-grandfather, the original head of the asylum. It details how to seal the entity, but at a great personal cost. The ritual requires the blood of the Reed family to bind the entity forever. In a desperate confrontation, Eleanor performs the ritual, battling the entity as it tries to possess her completely. The asylum shakes with supernatural force, and the voices of the damned scream in her ears. With a final act of will, she completes the ritual, sealing the entity away. The asylum falls silent, and Eleanor, now forever marked by the horrors she has endured, leaves Ravenswood, knowing that the curse has been lifted, but at the cost of her peace of mind. Epilogue: The Silent Watcher. Ravenswood Asylum is left in ruins, its doors sealed and its dark history buried. Eleanor returns to her life, but she is never the same. She becomes a recluse, haunted by the memories of the asylum and the entity that almost claimed her soul. She knows that the darkness is still out there, waiting for another chance to break free. The Shadows of Dreadmoor House, Chapter 1, The Forgotten Family. Alex Carter, an architect specializing in restoring historical buildings, is hired to renovate Dreadmoor House, a centuries-old mansion on the English countryside. The house, once a grand estate, has fallen into disrepair, and its dark history is largely forgotten. As Alex begins his work, he finds old journals and letters hidden within the walls, telling the story of the original inhabitants, the Whitlock family, who vanished without a trace over 100 years ago. The locals speak in hushed tones about Dreadmoor House, claiming it is cursed and that the Whitlocks were involved in dark rituals. Dismissing the rumors as mere superstition, Alex decides to uncover the truth behind the family's disappearance. Chapter 2, The Awakening. As Alex delves deeper into the renovation, strange occurrences begin to plague the site. Tools go missing, walls that were once stable suddenly collapse, and the workers report seeing shadowy figures in the corners of their eyes. At night, the house groans and creaks as if it were alive, and the temperature drops unnaturally. One evening, Alex discovers a hidden chamber in the basement, filled with ancient books and artifacts used for summoning rituals. The room is dominated by a large stone altar, stained with dried blood. Among the books, he finds a grimoire detailing the summoning of shadow spirits, beings that thrive in darkness and feed on fear. Chapter 3. The Shadows Rise. The more Alex uncovers about the Whitlock family, the more the shadows in Dreadmoor House seem to take on a life of their own. The spirits begin to manifest more aggressively, their presence felt in every corner of the mansion. They whisper Alex's name, taunting him, driving him to the brink of madness. In a particularly harrowing encounter, Alex is attacked by the shadows, which try to drag him into the walls. He narrowly escapes, but the experience leaves him shaken and determined to leave the house. However, the spirits are not done with him. They need him to complete the ritual that the Whitlocks started and were unable to finish. Chapter 4. The Final Ritual. Alex realizes that the only way to free himself from the spirits is to perform the ritual and banish them back to the darkness from which they came. With the grimoire in hand, he prepares to face the shadows. The house becomes a battleground, with the spirits attacking him from all sides, trying to stop him from completing the ritual. As Alex recites the incantations, the shadows become more tangible, almost human-like in form. He fights them off with everything he has, using the artifacts he found to weaken their hold on the house. The walls shake, and the air fills with a deafening roar as the spirits rage against their banishment. In a final, desperate act, Alex completes the ritual, and the shadows scream as they are torn from the mortal plane, banished back to the darkness. The house falls silent, the oppressive atmosphere lifting for the first time in over a century. Epilogue. The empty house. Dreadmoor House, now free of its dark inhabitants, stands empty, its halls echoing with the memories of what once was. Alex leaves the mansion, his work unfinished but his life intact. He knows that the house will never be the same, and neither will he. The experience has left its mark on him, and he vows never to speak of what he endured within those cursed walls. Dreadmoor House is put up for sale, but no one is willing to buy it. It remains abandoned, a silent testament to the darkness that once ruled within.